Okay, so this is cross-stitching stitches part 2, where I'm going to show you a tricky stitch. We started to talk about it last video. It's called the French knot, and it just makes a little ball. And it's kind of tricky. So you pull the thread up, and then you wrap the thread around the needle either 2 or 3 times. And then, this is the important part, you take a stitch really close to the one that you just first made, but not in the same hole, okay? And then you pull all that through, and then that leaves a little knot. You can try it a few times. If you can't get it, that's totally okay. Another way of making something that looks like a knot and not have it be a knot is to take a little stitch that's not in the perforated hole but next to it, and then you just take this is a tiny little stitch. It's not a full stitch, okay? And then you stitch in place again on top of it. And what that does is it makes it more dimensional. So it brings up, it raises it up from the fabric. And that's another way that you could make the little dots for your exclamation points, or if you have little periods you have to make in your sewing. Okay, so when you're done stitching, this is what the back of all of this is looking like. You can do what we did in the sewing the needle book and just take a couple of stitches but catch that thread. So you're making, see how this makes kind of a blobby knot? You want that. Then when I cut it away, I always want to make sure I leave a little bit of a tail. Not too long, but that way it's not going to fall out right away. The other thing that I want to show you that's kind of a special thing with this particular project is this. First, there's a typo. I'll talk about that when we get to, well, I can kind of talk about it now. So in the Lightsaber bookmark, there is a little section where you have to use 2 different kinds of thread. And so you're going to be using a metallic color, and mine is green, and then the white. And this white thread is kind of a special thread because it's glow in the dark. So once it's exposed to light for a while, it's going to glow in the dark. So what I want to do is I want to just use 2 threads. So I'm going to tie a knot in the end of my other, or of 2 of the ends. Mine are green and white. And if these are a little bit messy, the metallic is really challenging to work with because it wants to split. But if my threads are too long and my tail is ugly looking, I can always cut extra away. Now, as you can see, I have, maybe you can see this. Let's get it here in front of the camera. We have an end, 2 ends that are free, okay, and then 1 end that is knotted. So when I'm stitching, I have to kind of pay attention to what I'm doing because I've got it, I can pull my needle off by accident. But what this is doing is it's going to twist 2 colors together and create a color effect, which is what you want from the pattern. So when I'm stitching, I'm just stitching with 2 different colors, and the metallic and the white. And if they start to get off, I can pull the extra right here. And if it comes unthreaded, that's okay. You can rethread your needle. But that is, these are kind of the last little stitch advice that I've got for you in terms of working on your bookmark. But this is just working with 2 different colors. Oh, and I've got a knot on the back. If that happens, they sometimes can twist together, so you just have to kind of gently work it out. Maybe. Sometimes knots happen in these threads. And it looks like that's going to be really true for the metallic. So you want to just go nice and slow. And it looks like we're going to have to kind of pull the thread and smooth it out as you go pretty regularly. Metallic thread is pretty challenging to work with. But that's what this, I think these will look really cool with it. So that's why we've got metallic thread. All right.